Hello and welcome. So today we're having a little bit of a conversation. My name is Rachel. I am the founder of Charlotte Mason Beehive, and today I'm actually going to be talking with my husband, who has been instrumental in some of the products that we sell here at Charlotte Mason Beehive. So today's going to be a little bit of a fun treat for everybody, I think.
Yeah. No, it is. It's the first time I've come on camera with you to do anything like this, but I've been quite active behind the scenes for you, haven't I?
Oh, very much so. Yes. So James didn't start off in an active role at all. It was very much my baby, but the last few years he's really taken an interest in a lot more of the practical subjects that we've been selling, such as Paper Sloyd, which is what we're going to talk about today, because it really is one of our flagship products.
Yeah, and it's a good day to talk about it because we're right on the eve. So it's a big day for us and your business. You know, it's on the eve of us launching
the full Charlotte Mason course in Paper Sloyd, known as called a course in Paper Sloyd for homeschool rooms and educational establishments. This has been a long time coming, but it is a full, complete 4-year program in Paper Sloyd. So we're gonna talk a bit about that and how that came to be, because that's quite a milestone for us here.
Yeah, and obviously alongside that, you know, we will also be launching, you know, in the next couple of days, the paper tearing book, which is
tearing, our newest Paper Sloyd resource, paper tearing, which forms part of the course. So we're going to be talking a bit about that as well.
So I thought it'd be really nice today to just talk a little bit about Paper Sloyd and where it fits in to a Charlotte Mason, you know, curriculum, etc., and where you kind of like originally got started with it and originally found it.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, great. So I suppose we go back to the beginning, and Charlotte Mason had on the programs Paper Sloyd, which I think many of us weren't aware of before we became introduced to Charlotte Mason. So it was quite a new thing and quite exciting to look into. And the very first book on the program that she had for children in the first year of her programs, when they were about 6 years old, was Paper Folding by Henry Patterson. And this is the original book. So back when I started looking into home educating my own children and I wanted to do the Charlotte Mason thing, I was one of those obsessed people who wanted to find every book that she had on the programs. As you can imagine, I know
the amount of bookshelves I've made is a testament to that. Yes,
exactly. I keep needing my husband to put up more bookshelves for me because I literally have no space. But I know I'm not alone in that, because there are others out there just as obsessed as me. So anyway, I found the book, and you know what? I found it in Canada. It was one of the first books, actually, that I bought from abroad, I think. And I thought it was so expensive at the time, although I've bought much pricier books since then. So, I actually found this in a being sold secondhand in Canada, because it was one of those books that you could not find anywhere. I think it's still quite tricky to find in its original format, but I found it, and I was obviously over the moon, and I bought it. But I never envisioned ever actually redoing the book. That was kind of came out of nowhere, really. So
yeah, and it was the second book you did, was it?
It was essentially the second. Well, I always think of it, this was the book that essentially launched Charlotte Mason Beehive, because I did when we launched in September 2020, the very first book that I put out there was a complete direct reprint of Charlotte Mason's third geography reader, The Countess of England. It hadn't been done at the time, it wasn't available, and I just wanted it because I live in England and I wanted that book. So I redid it. That was what I launched it with. But I just transcribed it essentially. So it wasn't, I hadn't put a great deal of, I'd put effort into it, and I'd made it nice, and I'd formatted it, and I'd fixed it. But I put it out there for free. It's still available for free on my website, unless you bought it by print edition. Then you know you're going to pay for the print edition. But I do have it for free on my website. So that was essentially what I launched with. But then a few months later, in January 2021, I launched this book. It was our first actual proper product, paid product.
And we've got a copy of the original one here.
Is this the actual original? So this, so yeah, it's come a long way since we first did it. It was a black and white kind of I'm not getting to any proper. Yeah, thank you. So it was pretty much exactly the same. It had the same diagrams. I just essentially fixed up. I made it more palatable, more easier to understand, essentially. But I mean, it wasn't something I intended to do initially. The only reason I did it was because I looked at using this book with my children, and well, I found it quite overwhelming, and I couldn't quite figure out how to do it. It was kind of, it's quite archaic, and a lot of the material, like the paper that he uses and talks about, like I couldn't get it. I didn't know where to get it from. So I did a lot of research into finding how the kind of the supplies you want to use for it, and in the process I kind of started doing up the book a bit, and so it kind of just happened, and then I figured, I wonder if anyone else would be interested in this book. Turns out lots of people were, so that was really, really handy.
And I helped fix up a few of the diagrams early on, and your dad helped.
So my dad was instrumental in the original book. He helped me with that. So my father, unfortunately, has been diagnosed with dementia in the last few years and is in a care home now. So he's not helping me with those kinds of things anymore. But at the time, he did that first book. You've kind of taken over now. So very much as a family project.
He did a lot of the metric conversions for you, didn't
and he built all the projects. He built the projects with me. He built the projects with me, and we figured out the best way to explain what we were doing and things like that. So he really helped me with that initial book.
And one of the big things that actually made this a big success for you was that, alongside people being able to buy this book, they were able to buy a supply pack with all the materials in.
That was really cool, and that came from the fact that I found it so difficult initially to get the supplies that I needed to do the projects. And when I did find supplies, I had to buy in bulk essentially. So it made sense to me. Maybe we could do a supply pack. Again, I didn't expect it to nearly take off like it did, but I think people have really found it helpful. Yeah. But honestly, if you bought one of those first packs, I commend you, because what we've got today is so much better. We have streamlined it massively. When I think back to the old supply packs and just how they were they were just crazy.
We were trying to cut the paper with the rollers, and now we bought a lot. I tell you, guillotine that we cut all the paper.
Originally, I didn't even have a guillotine. I had one of those those roller thingies, those blade thingies, and then it would I'd be rolling, they'd go and it'd go off in the opposite direction. It would drive me insane. And then I bought a guillotine, but it would take us hours.
It would take us hours.
It was ridiculous.
Because one of the big points of this book, and what Charlotte Mason talked about, and Henry Patterson talked about, is that the students doing these projects in the book, they are provided with the right size piece of paper. They are not cutting a piece of paper to size. They are starting with the right size piece of paper, and it's one of the reasons why those packs they're difficult to put together, but they're also so worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, paper folding is very much the beginner Paper Sloyd course, and it was how Charlotte Mason envisioned it for children of the age of 6 or 7. They're not cutting their own paper, and they're not measuring. They have the paper supplied for them. So yes, that's what we were supplying, and we are still supplying. But we have just managed to streamline it a lot now. But yeah, it was a mammoth task. But it's a brilliant course to start with. Honestly, I have heard no end of people say how much their children love paper folding, and my children have always loved it as well. It's a brilliant course to start with.
And then we did a big update to it, didn't we?
We did a massive update. So that was about was it a year ago? Because I think we did
paper modelling, and then we went back to this because we incorporated some of the things.
So the new version of paper folding, which we originally called our colour edition, is this one. Oh look, you changed the cover.
I did. I changed the cover because we had paper folding and paper tearing with the same covers traditionally, but we had this beautiful font that M. Swannell used on the front of paper modelling, and we ended up using that across all 3 of our books because it's just a beautiful font. As a designer, I love that font. I've digitised it so that we can incorporate it in different things, and we moved it across to all the other books.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so the biggest changes
So the biggest changes, were we added. Well, you added. I mean, every single one of these photographs and all these hand pictures.
Yeah, it's all my hands.
James, he made every single project.
Yes, I've made every project in all 4 years of this curriculum.
And taking pictures of every step.
Every step. So we've got averaging a 10-step method to every, which is roughly what was in the original books. Sometimes we've extended things a little bit, and sometimes things have been incorporated, but we have a picture to go alongside it, and it makes a big difference, doesn't it, to people?
Difference. Yeah, we did get quite a lot of questions in the early days when people got slightly stuck with things. It was hard trying to explain everything in wording, and I tried. Like I said, I originally was trying to make what H.G. Patterson said initially, make it more easier for us to understand today. But it was still, there were times when it was quite complicated to kind of describe that. So I think the pictures really, really help. And then you also redid the diagram, or you didn't redo them. You kind of
I did. I digitized them so that they are a direct scale to originals. So sometimes you're going through the book and there's 1-to-1 scale of the diagram if it's a small project, but in most of them they are half size basically.
Right, yeah.
But it was just a case of taking out the little hand drawn, diagrams that people had done. We were able to keep some of the, or a lot of the hand drawn pictures of the finished projects, but the actual diagrams, we changed just to make it a little bit more understandable for people where folds and tears are supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really, really good. Like what it's turned into is amazing. Excellent. So
let me.
Okay.
So after paper folding, Charlotte Mason recommended
Paper Modelling by Mildred Swannell. That was to follow it in Form 1A, so the next year.
But what so many people didn't realise, which we found out, was that paper folding, the original, was part 1 in a 2-part series.
So it was part 1 in Educational Handwork for Schools and Colleges.
So we had part 2.
Well, this came a lot later. I mean, we'd already republished Paper Modelling, but actually, I didn't even know this existed. James is the one that discovered this, because you took such an interest in Paper Sloyd. You were looking up and doing research, weren't you?
I found an advert for it.
Oh, you found an advert?
That's right. There is an advert. There's an advert for the second part, which was at the time in production. It still wasn't out.
Right.
And then we were able to find it, and it follows directly from paper folding.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people found when they went straight to paper modelling is you are expected to know multiple skills that you're never really taught, and you're coming straight from it. Whereas paper tearing, you're going through these processes step by step, and you're in a much better position to then start paper modelling at the end of it.
No, absolutely. It's basically the perfect bridge between the two. Like it because otherwise children are going from having so much help and all the paper being cut to the right size and very simple kind of designs to suddenly going into paper modelling, which is quite a big book. Covering 2 years.
You're using a Sloyd knife. You're measuring. You're
it's quite
dealing
intense.
with angles.
Exactly. And when you're thinking that the children going into that would be like 7 or 8, it's quite a big jump. And people have commented on finding that. So this is the perfect bridge. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
And we've just finished it.
It's out. It's out tomorrow. It's our new baby Paper Sloyd book, and it's going to now form the second book in our course, our 4-year course. And so here it is.
We've got the step-by-step pictures, we've got the updated technical diagrams, and we've kept all of the beautiful.
And the great thing about it is there's all these alternative designs. So if you don't know, Charlotte Mason had she in her program she did want the children to do their own designs based off skills that they'd already learnt. so these are quite helpful because it kind of shows children how they can change designs that they already know and things like that. It gives them that extra help.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We put in alternate designs to. Yeah, alternative. You corrected many spelling mistakes in the book. You know, I might be able to do a good technical diagram.
Yeah,
but,
no.
So where we found that the original authors had recommended that there could be, you know, space to do these, I went in and we did, you know, versions of them, you know, for students to work from. Of course, it's very, you know, flexible. It's very fluid. People can do their own, you know, work on their own. But it gives a good structure if people want that.
Excellent. Yes, absolutely. I think there were also some. Are they like lots of alternative design here. Brilliant. Yeah, really, really good. But yeah, see how to obtain a triangle by tearing. So there's these little tutorials occasionally where you're learning a specific skill before you do a
What's
project.
nice about these is you'll get to a section like this, which is to obtain a triangle by tearing. You'll learn how to create a perfect triangle from a rough piece of paper, and then all of the projects following that will all be based upon a triangle. So you're using this skill that you've obtained here for the base of the next several projects.
Yeah, no, it's a really good book, and it's the perfect follow up, like I say. So we have essentially decided to put this as a Form 1A resource. I mean, again, the ages are only loose anyway. If you come to this later, then don't be afraid. Your child, it's not really age based. It's just we just think about it in terms of how Charlotte Mason assigned it. But yeah, we were looking at this as the follow-up to paper folding. So, which means that we have moved paper modelling to follow after paper tearing. So this was actually... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just holding both up because...
So we actually published the update to paper modelling, the colour edition, which has got all the step-by-step photographs before we published paper folding in the same vein, because we realised how good it was, and we decided, let's do the same thing. Yeah. But this is a big book. This 2 years. 2 years worth of projects. This one, and yeah, so this, but again, it's brilliant. It's lots of lovely projects. Lot more intricate, and like I say, the children are cutting things out.
A lot of measuring in this book. A lot of measuring, a lot of marking, and then the biggest introduction is that you're using, a Sloyd knife, or what we'd call today a craft knife, or a Stanley knife, to actually obtain the quite intricate designs, because you wouldn't be able to do some of these by tearing.
No, exactly. I love this one. I love the
the Arctic sled.
The Arctic sled, I love it. Yeah. So that's our what we consider now to be our third book in our new course. So that would be for years 3 and 4. The children are slightly older; they've got a bit more experience, and so they're going to be learning more mathematical skills. Is this the one where you do the angles on a circle, the circumference, and all of that stuff?
Yes, yeah, we're doing.
So there's a lot of there's mathematical things in this one, and learning about angles and all that stuff. So it is the more advanced text, definitely. Yeah. We wouldn't advise starting with it. We would definitely advise starting with paper folding and paper tearing. And
obviously there are supply packs available for both of these as well.
So we have done supply packs for everything, but for paper tearing and paper modelling, they're very special, and they've got something extra. Do you want to tell them about what?
Yes.
Okay.
So because paper folding, you are starting with the correct size piece of paper. It isn't really applicable to paper folding, but in paper tearing and paper modelling, we've come up with what are called
the instructor's diagram templates.
Yes, the instructor's diagram templates, which are one-to-one templates, so the exact size templates printed out on sugar or craft paper. Yeah. That if you are teaching Paper Sloyd, it's a useful task because you're not spending your night before trying to work out and construct a model. You have the model in front of you, printed out for you, where every fold, every tear is supposed to go, and you can construct the model. So you are in a good place to
Yeah.
actually teach this course. And that was the original premise for doing instructor diagram templates.
Yeah.
But then they morphed past that, and we had people contact us for younger students that still wanted to do paper modelling, but couldn't quite get to the level of using, you know, certain cutting implements or marking out with a ruler and protractor. So they were able to take the diagram templates and actually still be able to work through the projects, but without so much of the mathematical side of it behind it.
Exactly. The thing is, the big thing about Paper Sloyd and the way we have tried to do Paper Sloyd is that we've tried to make it as easily, well, as accessible to everybody. The whole premise of our entire range is that it's accessible for everyone. Everybody can do Paper Sloyd, and some people are going to be more talented at it. They might have they might get it a bit quicker. They might be more of a handiwork type of person, and then others might struggle a bit more. So everything that we offer is giving everybody you know, access to being able to do it if you know, if they really need those helps and things like that as well. But the whole thing has been about trying to make this as accessible.
Yeah.
So,
and it's about being confident as well, being able to teach a lesson where you know what's actually happening.
Yeah, exactly. Because as homeschooling parents, we do have a lot on our plate, and we've got a lot of subjects that we're juggling, and we're trying to figure out. So yes, there are those days when you're like, right, I've got to do this subject, and you open the book and you're like, oh, I can't teach this. I don't know. I haven't prepared. And sometimes you do just want that open and go. Sometimes it just so things like that can be helpful in that.
And it's completely optional.
So yeah, exactly. It's complete. That's what I mean. Yeah, it's completely optional. You know, you can take what you need and leave the rest, kind of thing. So that's that's really what we're doing, because as part of our course now, a 4-year course, we are now offering a teacher's guide. So a teacher's guide and lesson plan to give that extra support as well, to help you. So this covers 4 years, and every there's two lessons on every page, and we talk about preparing, what kind of you're doing, and any kind of pitfalls that you may have, and we just add in comments.
Materials required.
Everything's just kind of laid out for you, and it just kind of helps you to be able to successfully, because how often do we try and do these things with the best of intentions, and we just struggle, so they can get left by the wayside. So it's really just making it as successful as possible.
And one of the things that we were asked a lot about, and you provided some of them originally for free on your website, was an actual structured week by week.
Right,
lesson.
yeah. So we've got a week. Yes, we've got a very nice schedule. We also even included the examination week, and we've actually included a little assessment as well, which is for the teacher and more than the student. But just I mean, everything's there for you. Like literally, this is a full and complete course.
Yeah. So every year it is broken down into 3 terms, 12 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And we're incorporating those extra lessons we talked about in paper tearing, and we're also incorporating skills lessons.
Yes, so we've got skills lessons and alternative design lessons. So
yes. So the skills lessons came about when we were putting the books together, and we found that you're learning a new skill in this point. For example, it might be tearing from a corner on an angle. And you're expected to do it once, and then in the next lesson, you're just expected to pick it up and carry on with it. Whereas some of those things, me as an adult, working through all of these projects, I struggled with a lot of it. So we put in skills lessons where there were gaps in the schedule for people to be able to just spend an extra lesson learning some of the skills as they progress through the course.
So that is our course. So the course uses all 3 books, of course. So paper folding is the first year, paper tearing is the second year, and paper modelling will be years 3 and 4. So 4 years. So if you start from the very beginning, if you're doing a Charlotte Mason style education and you're using her years and stuff like that, you'd start in Form 1B and you'd end in Form 2B. So it would be those 4 years. if you buy the complete course, you can get all 4 books, including the teacher's guide. You can also get bundles that include all the supply packs and also all the template packs as well. So depending on what your needs are and what you want to do, there's something available for you. So yeah. So this is our new big thing. Very exciting.
No, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It is. It's one of the most popular products. Again, like I say, very. I never expected this, and but it is very, very popular, and people have found great success with it. But we know that this is going to only make that even better. So people are going to even find more success. So yeah.
And we'd love to see anyone that is doing Paper Sloyd. If you take some pictures of some of the projects that you do, share them with us. We love to see. We've seen a lot of work envelopes over the years, which is the very first project in the very first book. But we love to see people actually incorporating this, and it does help inspire others. Because I think so many people go into Paper Sloyd with great intentions. And us together as a community, can help support that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just remember that this is a handicraft and it's a very easy one to just pick up and do. So really, I really do encourage you to give it a try if you haven't before. So yeah. So do you have anything else you want to share?
No, the only thing I'd like to share on top of it is by doing Paper Sloyd, our own son Frederick, he loves modelling with cardboard.
Yeah.
It started with this and he builds everything.
He does build everything. It's been amazing actually to see. Yeah.
He has built some amazing designs.
It's amazing seeing him grow with this since he was around the age of 6 and started doing a bit of Paper Sloyd, but he's just taken it just in his room. He just builds things out of paper and cardboard and all of those kinds of things. It's been amazing. Yeah. To watch that creativity kind of thing. But Victoria too, our daughter, she loves it as well. It's just a fun, enjoyable subject, and you learn so much from it. Yeah. So yeah.
Right.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us and letting us talk about our new product, and we really hope that you enjoy using it. And if you have any questions, just reach out to us. Thanks.